Hello and welcome back to part 5 of this IHSDM tutorial, and this part we're going to be talking about entering AADT values. This is just your average daily traffic or average annual daily traffic that you'll be entering into the model. Typically you're going to have 4 different years. You're going to have your existing year, and then you're going to have 3 no-build years. And if you don't have 4 years, you can pretty easily create it just based on a growth rate that you're going to get. A lot of times you'll be able to pull no build values though for years of interest. So I just want to go over and show some of the data you're going to pull. You're going to get two-way data for main lines. So this 55,000 value is the average annual daily traffic for both directions for 1 day of your no build year. And then these 3 following numbers are going to be your subsequent build years. So this could be an existing 2022. This could be a 2025, this could be a 2035, and then this could be a 2045. The years will be project specific, and it doesn't matter too much what years you use, just as long as you're consistent throughout the whole project. So you're going to get some spot data for the mainline values. Typically, I'll just pull data at the end of the project and then manually hand calc the rest of it, and you'll see why here in a second once you get the ramp counts. So here is the ramp volumes. So this is the off-ramp ramp volume of the existing of 600 a day. 2025 I have 800, 900, 950, and then here's the on-ramp, which is slightly higher, but we have 1200, 1300, 1400, and 1500. So this is going to be a little confusing at first, just because the structure of putting in these AADT values is a little odd, right? So for your mainline, you're going to have to enter in data whenever you have a ramp connection. So we don't have a ramp connection from station 200 until our first ramp connection is at station 240. So I've got an Excel file open here. So our first station range of traffic data is going to be 200 to 240 plus 00. So I just kind of like to keep track here before I actually input any numbering things. So that's going to be our first range. Then you can see we have a mainline stretch here before our next ramp connection of 240 until 243 plus 15. So that's going to be another data input. And then I believe that's the last ramp connection that we have. So for the rest of this model, it's going to go all the way down to the project limits to 279 plus 14.66. So we're only going to have 3 inputs kind of per year here, if that makes sense, at least for the main line. But once you start getting a lot of ramp connections and it starts getting tedious, and you're going to have station ranges that are potentially only like 100 feet long, but you do have to enter data for every section individually. So that's kind of how the mainline process goes. Now let's just do some of these hand calculations here. So I said we're going to need a station range, or we're going to need a data set here. So you'll see in our volume files, we just copy and paste these over here. Because it's an on-ramp, we're adding traffic, so we're going to add these numbers to these numbers. If I make a mistake here, don't judge me too hard. I'm just doing these by hand here. I think that's 2200. So now we have our data for this small stretch here, and then again, we're going to do it one last time, and this is going to be for the rest of it now. But now, because this is, I guess this is also, so going the other direction, this is also an off-ramp. I'm wondering if I'm just making sure I'm doing this correctly. Yeah, so we're also going to add these numbers. If the ramps were coming this direction, facing the other way, then we would subtract them. But you'll figure it out once you start kind of messing around with these numbers. So now again, we're going to just add these other values in here. 900. That's I gotta pull out the calculator for this one. So now we have our station range data and as well as the traffic values. So let's pull open our open roads here, and we're gonna, or not our open roads, our IHSDM. We're gonna enter our mainline data first, just for the existing year. So here's our average traffic. You see we have our start location, end location, year, and then associated traffic volume. So we already wrote down on our Excel sheet the station ranges. So we're gonna have 1 to 240 plus 00. The existing year 2022. I'm just going to put in 1 for now, just so I don't have the volumes written yet. So here's our ramp connection to ramp connection. Again, year 2020. I'm going to put 1 for now, and then here's our last. Oh, sorry, 2022. Stuck a couple years behind. So here's our existing years. Now we can pull our data from the CAD file. So let me open them side by side again. So our first, I'm not seeing it. All right. So our first value is 55,000. Our second value is 56,200, and then our final value is 56,800. So now we have data for the existing year on this mainline alignment added. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to duplicate these into year 2025. And now you can come in and edit these yourself manually. So we can duplicate for 2025, 2035, and then we can do one final duplication for the final year of 2045. So I'm just going to go quickly and enter these, and I'll be back once those are added. Alright, I am back. I've got the traffic volumes entered for the main line. So now we have our 3 station ranges, the beginning, between the 2 ramp connections, and then the last section, as well as our 3 corresponding values. And then we've got no build years 2025, 2035, 2045 of data all in there. So it really is that easy. And now when we go into enter our values for the ramps, that is extremely easy. So we have our eastbound off ramp, and we're only going to have 4 years. Our range is going to be the whole thing because it's a ramp terminal. There's no additional roads that add volume. So I'll be back in a second once I get these 4 values added in. Okay, I have these ramp values in. I've saved it, and then we've got this last on ramp left. So we're going to go and edit that highway as well, and I'll be back once this data is added. And now I also have the data entered for the on-ramp. So now we have AADT data entered for the main lane. We have AADT entered for the off-ramp. We have AADT entered for the on-ramp. The last section, which we have not discussed, is going to be our crossroad. So I'm going to just discuss quickly the development of the crossroad, as well as your station ranges. I'm not going to actually do anything for it because I'd have to make up data as well as turning counts, and the crossroad data is typically provided on the project, or it's forecasted out already. You shouldn't have to hand calc anything for a crossroad. But as far as data entry, you're going to have for at least this road, you're going to have 3 segments. You're going to have 0 until your first ramp terminal. You're going to have ramp terminal to ramp terminal, and these are again those intersection points that we defined in the ramp terminal section. and then you're going to have the ramp terminal until the end. So you're still going to have your 4 years of data, your 2022, your 2025, 2035, and 2045. But you're also going to have 3 sections of AADT for each year to add. And like I said, these will be forecasted out, or they will be provided online somewhere. So you shouldn't have to hand calc any of those. So if we wanted to enter data for that road, so I just have to remember what our ramp terminal points were here in a second. So we're going to edit that highway. You can see we're blank. So we're going to start with 0. I believe our first connection point was 2 plus 50. If that's ringing any bells. I typed it wrong. 2 plus 50. So here's our first section. Our second section is going to be 6 plus 25, it looks like. So we're going to have 2 plus 50 to 6 plus 25. And then we're going to have one final one of 6 plus 25. Oh, I did that wrong. We're going to have 6 plus 25 until the end station. So we have 2022. We can do the same process where we copy it to our future year, 2025. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. We copy it again. We have our year 2035. And we copy it one last time for 2045. No, that was not right. And then you'll enter this data accordingly. Again, I don't have it here, but that's how you would do a crossroad. If you've got multiple connection points or ramp terminals intersections, you would have to do a station range between every intersection and the beginning and end. So that's kind of the process of entering AADT data. I know this was kind of a quick session. The main lines are going to take some practice. Reach out to myself or Sierra if you are watching this and have questions. We typically have the same process of creating a volume map file where we reference in our line work, our CAD line work, and then we just place text callouts on top of each other. Whatever works for you, really. It's going to be whoever, as long as you can explain it to whoever is reviewing it. Your CAD file can kind of look like whatever, as long as you can explain how to interpret it. But it'll take a little getting used to code in the mainline AADT values precisely. But this is a start at least, and I hope this was a useful section. So yeah, that is pretty much the full webinar really, and now all we have to do is just start looking at how to actually run an evaluation to see the safety of each individual section. And there's quite a bit of detail we can go into on this next section, but I'm going to just leave it as basic evaluations. So we'll see you back for the next part.